Coming your way on the 49ers Report, we're going to talk about this significant Jimmie Ward injury that Kyle Shanahan just talked about. But while we were talking about Ward being out for a little while, there were also some roster moves that came across, and we talked about that on the back half of the show. So make sure you stay tuned for that. And this is why you subscribe to the channel, because even if we're talking about Jimmie Ward and we have to pivot to this breaking news coming in, that's what we do. So hit that red sub button down below, and let's get the show started. We have some breaking news to get to early on a Monday. Kyle Shanahan just wrapped up his press conference from Santa Clara, and during it relayed some concerning news about Jimmie Ward, the starting safety for this team, and the timeline for that injury a little bit concerning. As for what the injury is, how long he might be out, we'll get to that coming up here just in a few moments. First, though, today's show presented by Manscaped. And for Jimmie Ward, this is unfortunate. Coming off the best year of his career, last night was just named the top 100 player in the National Football League. That means that he's elite. You know, it's also elite, the best men's grooming products from Manscaped. And you can get 20% off and free shipping by utilizing that link at the bottom of your screen, manscaped.com/49ers. I'll put it in the comment section and the description of this video. So we're reacting to this just moments after Kyle Shanahan told the media that Jimmie Ward, during Sunday's practice, suffered a significant hamstring pull. His Week 1 status could be in doubt against the Chicago Bears on September 11th. And this is unfortunate for him, as I just talked about. Was named a top 100 player by the NFL on Sunday night, and the injury came during a practice, didn't even come against the Green Bay Packers in the preseason opener. And for Ward, injuries have been a little bit of a concern for him throughout his NFL career. Now, the last 3 years, he stayed relatively healthy, playing in at least 13 games each of the last 3 seasons, but now could miss some time to start the season, maybe even an additional game on top of missing that debut game of the 2022 campaign against the Chicago Bears. And Ward last year was terrific. Outside of Fred Warner, Nick Bosa, I thought he was one of the more valuable players on this defense for DeMeco Ryans, and the numbers certainly back that up. Overall Pro Football Focus grade of nearly 78, the league average 70, by the way. Run defense grade, one of the best in the NFL among all safeties, 88.2. Coverage grade, nearly 74. He had 606 coverage snaps, and the passer rating allowed when targeted, just 53.5, and only 2 missed tackles with a bevy of opportunities. And I love the flexibility to his game because Jimmie Ward can literally play all across the football. And then more specific, 51 solo tackles for a safety is a really good number. 6 pass breakups as he displayed really good instincts there. 2 interceptions and 14 stops. So that combined with the fact that he didn't miss a lot of tackles in the open field, it didn't allow opposing offenses to really gash San Francisco and come through with some of those extended plays that oftentimes happen when some of those missed tackles take place. You want to send Jimmie Ward on a blitz, he doesn't really do that all that often, but he can cover a variety of players, whether it be wide receivers, tight ends, running backs out of the backfield, and he's really good in pass coverage. As for who could replace Jimmie Ward if he misses Week 1 against Chicago, and even further games on top of that, because these soft tissue injuries really concerning, because if you overdo it, then some of these players are out for an even longer period of time. Here are the players who could replace Ward opposite of what looks to be Talanoa Hufanga, who laid the thump and the boom against Green Bay on Friday night. Tarvarius Moore entering a big year for him. George Odum, more of a special teams player, all-pro special teamer, not much of a safety. And then Dontae Johnson, who Kyle Shanahan did compliment during his press conference, saying that he's done a pretty good job when he's taken those safety reps. You probably know him more as a cornerback, but has a little bit of that flexibility, and San Francisco has tested him out more at that strong safety spot. For Moore, he's coming off the torn Achilles, and against the Packers, he got gashed for a couple of big plays, including that long touchdown. Just looked a step slow in that recovery, and those diagnosing skills not up to snuff like it is with Jimmie Ward. Now, the 49ers, as we're about to show you coming up around the corner, have had some hamstring issues in camp. But as of right now, there hasn't been a monster injury with season-ending implications. Cross our fingers. Let's hope that doesn't happen. But I'm being told by the football gods that if you like the video, the 49ers won't suffer any serious injuries. So for all of you out there, let's get the good vibes flowing. Hit that thumbs up icon and like the video. As for that troubling trend at 49ers training camp, we're going to get to that right around the corner. First, though, I want to tell you about today's presenting sponsor, Manscaped. We're locked and loaded with another Stacked Niners report. You don't want to miss any of it. And by using Manscaped, you don't miss any of the hairs down below the belt, as you can clean it up for your significant other. And they always have to offer really good packages, including the premium package and all that stuff. Manscaped.com/49ers. You plug in that link. It's a custom link for the faithful, and you get 20% off and free shipping. Jimmie Ward, kind of a ball hawking safety. If you want to hawk down your ball hairs, do it with Manscaped, the leader in the best men's grooming product tools. And this package right here, you get the nose trimmer, because who likes a foresty nose and nostrils? You get the Lawnmower 4.0, the ball preserver, which is basically like deodorant for your balls. Manscaped.com/49ers, $95.99 by entering the promo code 49ers. You get all of these products in the performance package. I'm going to put that link in the comment section and the description of this video. As for the troubling trend in Santa Clara at the SAP Performance Center and also against the Packers, it's the continued hamstring issues that we've seen from a couple of players on this roster. Daniel Brunskill going to be out for a couple of weeks, which probably means that Jake Brendel is going to be the starting center come week 1 against Chicago. Elijah Mitchell earlier in camp also dealt with a little bit of a hamstring pull. Emmanuel Mosley, Tarvarius Ward, the top 2 corners on this roster, also have those hamstring ailments. And now it's Jimmie Ward being added to the equation. Now, before all of you freak out and say, why do all these Niners get injured year in and year out? And actually, I was looking at these numbers yesterday doing some of my preseason prep. Since Kyle Shanahan became the head coach of the San Francisco 49ers, they've been one of the most off-injured teams in the NFL. But you have to think about it from this perspective too. Physicality ramping up, effort level ramping up at camp, as well as during these preseason games. And sometimes these soft tissue injuries with guys who are trying to get their bodies right do pop up. As long as they don't rear its ugly head during the regular season, then, you know, these types of things, you allow these players to sit out for a couple of weeks like Jimmie Ward, just get them right. And we're about to show you the 49ers schedule. They can escape not having Jimmie Ward for at least week 1, maybe even week 2. Before we take a look at that schedule, have you subscribed to the channel? If you haven't, do so right now. For the best, most interactive, most informative Niners coverage and analysis, we bring you the best news, rumors, as well as analysis. And we're trying to get to 61,000 subs by Saturday, because that is when our watch party goes down against the Minnesota Vikings. We're having a little bit of a sub battle between us as well as our Vikings channel, starting the week with a goose egg. Who could pick up the most subscribers throughout this week in the lead up to that preseason matchup? 61K by Saturday, I think we can get there, 130 people away. So if you want the best Niners coverage and you want to be informed and in the know with this football team, just hit that red subscribe button down below. As for the Niners' first month of the season on the regular season schedule, it shakes out in a way where the first 2 games you can get by without the services of Jimmie Ward and maybe play Tarvarius Moore, Dontae Johnson alongside Talanoa Hufanga, because the Chicago Bears passing attack isn't considered elite by any means. I watched their preseason game on Saturday. The offensive line is shaky, which tends to be a good thing for San Francisco because their defensive line, one of the best in the NFL. I think they'll be able to consistently pressure Justin Fields, and if they're providing and generating that pressure, then what's going on the back end, not as much of an importance as compared to going up against a team like the Los Angeles Rams, who can gash you in the passing game. I don't expect Chicago to have just an elite offensive arsenal attack through the air, because they don't really have any bona fide weapons at that wide receiver spot outside of Darnell Mooney, who made that nice catch on Saturday. But he's their number 1. It's not like they're stacked with offensive skill players. So you can get by without Jimmie Ward in week 1. And then week 2, I also watched the Seahawks game over the weekend. Geno Smith, Drew Lock, do they do anything to move the needle? Yes, they do have Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf. A little bit of a concern. We know Jimmie Ward likes going up against DK Metcalf, but The offensive line for Seattle, a little bit of a question. Quarterback, a monster question for Seattle. So the point here being, among these first 4 games, those first 2, if you're without Jimmie Ward, you can at least get by. Then you go up against Russell Wilson week 3, Matthew Stafford in week 4. That's when you'd ideally like to see Jimmie Ward back on the field for the San Francisco 49ers defense. Are you concerned about this particular injury? And then also, some of these other hamstring injuries that have taken place. Let me know in the comments section right now. Give me a Y for yes or an N for no. Also, more news coming in. Good job by producer Sam Brown to literally relay this just moments after it happened. So, San Francisco, they have released Darqueze Dennard. A little bit of a surprise here because he had the inside track at maybe locking down that nickel corner role, but they're cutting down the roster from 90 to 85, and with Jimmie Ward out, they might need to bring in another safety. So they're going to let go of Darqueze Dennard. Maybe that has to do with the fact that Samuel Womack played terrific in his professional debut with 2 interceptions against Jordan Love. They've also made a couple of other roster moves, just one to be exact, on top of Dennard. Keyshawn Johnson has also been released. And these moves continue to come in. So we're basically going to react to all of this in a breaking news scenario as if we're doing a live show. Keyshawn Johnson wasn't going to make this roster. Really the big surprise here is Darqueze Dennard, who's been let go, who to start camp kind of had the inside track at that nickel corner role. If you remember late last year, he filled in a pinch and did a pretty good job against the Los Angeles Rams in a must-win game in Week 18, game number 17 of the season, and he credited San Francisco with bringing his love for football back. Really, when I'm thinking about this all comes down to Samuel Womack and the fact that the rookie out of Toledo, who in 53 career collegiate games had 45 pass breakups and then came onto the scene at Levi's Stadium and had 2 interceptions, that now allows him to be the starting cornerback for this football team. So a couple of roster moves that we're reacting to. YouTube.com/49ers TV. This is why you subscribe to the channel. Also, we have this. As the Niners going to trim that roster down from 90 to 85. Those roster cuts taking place on Tuesday, but San Francisco getting ahead of it. Tomasi Laulile and then Josh Hokett also have been released by the 49ers. So, again, that's why you subscribe to the channel, because when news like this happens, we're going to bring it to you faster than anybody. One more time, today's show presented by Manscaped. Get hooked up today, manscaped.com/49ers. As always, appreciate all of you for watching today's show and bearing with us as we got our graphics ready to bring you that news. We'll catch you next time, and if anything pops up today, we'll bring you another video.